So in this video, we'll continue coding the if statement where we determine what happens if the user chooses to go left in the game. So from the previous video, this was the code that we wrote. And basically what is happening here is that we start the game by saying that the user has been walking on a gravel road and they need to choose to go either left or right. And that answer is stored in this answer variable. And you can think of each of these if statements as different paths that the user will go down in the game based on what they choose to do. Now, inside this if statement, we will write the code for what is going to happen for the rest of the game if the user chooses left. So we're going to need to create many nested if statements. You'll see what the nested if statements look like in a minute. So we've already written that if the user chooses left, we will tell them that they have come to a river and they will choose to either swim across the river or walk around it. Their answer will be updated in this answer variable over here. So now we need to create more if statements inside this if statement for what should happen next in the game. So if the user chooses to walk, then they will be going down a certain path. And we can write an if statement for that like this. If answer is equal to walk, and then inside this if statement, we'll write the code to be executed for the rest of the game. For now, I'll just put an empty print statement. Then, if the user chooses to swim, they will be going down a different path, and they'll get a different series of questions. And we can code that in another if statement. So we can write elif answer is equal to swim, and then inside this if statement, we'll write the series of questions the user will receive if they choose to swim. Again, I'll just put an empty print statement for now. Finally, the last possibility is if the user types in an answer that is not walk or swim. If the user does this, we can just tell them that it is not a valid answer and that the game has ended. So we just need to print out such a statement if the answer is not walk or swim. So we can write else print this is not a valid answer. The game has ended. So I hope you're starting to understand the gist of this game. The user keeps making one choice after another, and you can make it go on for as long as you want. You can keep adding more and more nested if statements. So back to this, if the user chooses to walk, you can choose to make a bunch of things happen, and the journey can go on. Or if you want to keep the game very short and simple, you can end the game right here. So if you want to end the game, you could write something like print, you walked a few miles, ran out of water and lost the game. So then what would happen is that in the game, if the user chooses to go left and then chooses to walk, they will lose. And maybe we can make it such that if they choose to go left, but then they choose to swim, they'll win the game. So we can write print, you swam across the river and found a bag of diamonds. You win the game. again, keep in mind that you can come up with your own events for this game. These are just things that I'm coming up with off the top of my head. So we'll write the code for what happens if the user chooses to go right in the next video.